It was summertime on the island of Sodor. As the temperature outside increased, so did the engine's workload. They found themselves rushed off their wheels. One evening, the fat controller called a meeting at the big station to address the issue.
"I realize," he said, "that we have been in need of a new steam engine for a long time. So I have ordered one from the other railway. His name is Neville and he arrives tomorrow. I hope you will all make him welcome and comfortable."
"Yes, sir," said the engines in unison. Thomas was excited. He loved making new friends, and was sure that he would win Neville over in no time at all. The next day, Thomas was puffing along the line when he saw a red flag near the track. He stopped as quickly as he could, and the signalman ran up to him. "The bridge ahead is unsafe," said the signalman. "Thomas, I need you to collect a piece of ironwork so the bridge can be repaired." "Yes, of course," replied Thomas, and he steamed quickly away. Meanwhile, Ari and Bert were at the timber yards when an unfamiliar and oddly shaped steam engine pulled in. "Hello," called the engine. "My name's Neville. I'm here to collect a load of timber." "Ah, yes," said a confused Ari. "It's waiting under the shed." Neville slowly backed down onto the flatbeds, but then Ari and Bert looked at each other and grinned. They honked their horns loudly, startling Neville, who banged so roughly into the flatbeds that one of them derailed. "Watch where you're going, clumsy wheels," snickered Ari. Neville felt embarrassed. "It's not our fault if you're a silly steam engine," oiled Bert. The diesels laughed even harder. As they were laughing, Henry arrived. "And what do you two think you're doing?" he wheezed crossly. Ari and Bert said nothing, and scampered off as quickly as they could. Henry glanced at Neville, who was looking very forlorn indeed. "Take no notice of them," comforted Henry. "They're all bark and no bite." "I'll try to remember that," sighed Neville, but he didn't feel reassured. Thomas arrived at the ironworks where he was to collect the piece for the broken bridge. He looked all around, but couldn't see the girders anywhere. "Those blasted diesels," he puffed to himself. He whistled as loud as he could, and Ari and Bert pulled up with Thomas's load. "Looking for someone?" sneered Ari. "Yes, as a matter of fact," peeped Thomas. "Where have you been?" "We were just talking to this Neville character. He told us how much he hates steam engines and wants to be one of us," replied Ari. Thomas felt uneasy hearing this. Obviously, Ari was making this story up, but Thomas believed him. "Well," oiled Bert, "bye!" With that, the two diesels raced away. As soon as Thomas was coupled up to the girders, he steamed out of the yards. Eventually, Thomas arrived at Knapford. James was idling at the platform. "Have you met the new engine yet?" asked James. "Yes," said Thomas, "but we'd better be careful. Apparently he hates steam engines and prefers the company of diesels." James was shocked, but before he could reply, Thomas puffed away. As Thomas left, Edward steamed in. "Edward!" cried James. "Did you hear the news?" And he told Edward what Thomas had said. Later, Edward saw Percy taking on water. "I've heard some unsavory things about that new engine, Neville," the old engine puffed. "He doesn't like steam engines at all, and wants to avoid us at all costs. Be cautious if you see him." "How did you find out about this?" puzzled Percy. "James told me, and Thomas told him," replied Edward. Then Percy saw Emily at a signal. "Don't go near Neville the new engine," advised the small engine. "Ari and Bert told him to push the steam engines off the rails." Emily gasped. "Edward told me," explained Percy. "And James told Edward, and they heard all about it from Thomas." Henry was at the washdown when Toby pulled up alongside. Be careful, cautioned the steam engine. Neville wants to take over the railway with Harry and Bert. Emily told me. And that couldn't be further from the truth, said Henry. Neville isn't friends with those diesels at all. Toby was confused. I saw Harry and Bert bullying Neville at the yards, Henry continued, and he told Toby everything. Toby knew he had to do something to stop the rumors, so he steamed off as fast as he could. Meanwhile, Thomas was at Abbey Station when the Fat Controller walked up.
Thomas, I need you to warn all the engines not to cross the bridge until it's repaired, he said.
Thomas smiled. He felt really useful. As the Fat Controller turned away, Thomas heard an unfamiliar whistle in the distance. Then Neville appeared, pulling Annie and Clarabelle. Thomas was shocked. Annie and Clarabelle were his coaches. Afternoon, Neville called cheerily. My name's Neville, and I'm not talking to you, scowled Thomas. Neville didn't know what he had done. Then, Emily steamed into the other platform. Hi, I'm Neville, began the new engine. Don't even try and be friends with me, replied Emily dismissively. I know you want to scrap us all just like Harry and Bert told you to. Thomas was confused. Neville puffed out of the station as quickly as he could. Who told you that Neville wanted to scrap us? Quizzed Thomas. Don't you know? Scoffed Emily. Percy told me. Edward told Percy, James told Edward, and you told James. But I never... Then Toby chuffed in, almost out of breath. Henry said that he saw Harry and Bert being horrible to Neville at the timber yards, he panted. Emily now felt terrible, and so did Thomas. He realized he had made a huge mistake. Where was Neville going? Asked Emily. Cinders and ashes! Gasped Thomas. He's heading towards the broken bridge! I have to stop him! And he sped off to the rescue. Neville raced along the track, trying to get as far away from the others as he could. Suddenly he saw a barrier on the track ahead. He braked hard, but it was too late, and Neville found himself dangling off the edge of the broken bridge. Thomas arrived at the scene and knew this was his fault. Then, he had an idea. He steamed slowly and carefully onto the bridge. He gently bumped Clarabelle and was coupled up. Slowly and steadily, he began to pull Neville back onto the rails. He was terrified. The bridge made horrible creaking noises. Thomas pulled as hard as he could. With one final effort, he pulled Neville's wheels off the bridge. Thank you for saving me, said Neville. I'm sorry for what I said earlier, said Thomas. I should have warned you, but I was too busy listening to tall tales. Harry and Bert told me you didn't like steam engines, but I shouldn't have listened to them. Thomas gave Neville a friendly whistle. Neville was very happy. At last, he knew he had a good friend in Thomas.